This is Expound, expanding your knowledge of the truth of God by explaining the Word of God in a way that is interactive, enjoyable, and congregational.
Before I introduce our guest, I want to give you a little forewarning. Our interview is going to be entirely too short because of the knowledge that Avi has and his ability to articulate a lot of issues. So, just so you know, he has a table set up in the foyer with all sorts of resources that you could get a hold of to learn more. But Avi, thank you for coming here. Avi Lipkin, please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you.
Avi, you live in Israel, but you came from America and immigrated to Israel. Is that correct?
Yes, I was born in 49, moved to Israel in 68 at age 19, and I've been there 43 years, but the last 21 years I've been coming back and forth preaching in the States.
So this whole dispute over the territories, over the land, tell us a little bit about your background and what you bring to this whole debate.
Well, firstly, I'm a history freak. I love history, all history, Middle Eastern history, European history. I moved to Israel at age 19 out of Zionist ideological reasons. I was always active in the Likud party, and before that in the Beitar youth movement, which is the Likud party. My wife, Rachel, is a Jewish woman from Egypt, which is kind of funny because I think like an American Christian. She thinks like an Egyptian Muslim. So it's like a Jew and an Arab, you know, an Arab and American getting married. And my wife is an intelligence gatherer.
You're the future of the Middle East. Can I just say that? You pulled it off.
But anyway, my wife for 43 years, you know, has been saying to me, you know, you don't know anything, you know, you don't understand the Muslim mentality. And she's right, she understands. But I've been coming back every day to America, to the churches, to say this is what Islam is planning. And this thing about the West Bank, you know, it's very simple. It's not about history or legalisms. It's about the war, I believe, between God and Satan. And it's not about territories. They don't care about territories. They don't want a Jewish state at all.
This whole debate is coming up in the United Nations next month. What is the possibility of that discussion and the outcome?
Well, Israel, of course, is prepared for an international onslaught against Israel. But I think that even from what my wife says, many Palestinians do not want a Palestinian state. They're happy to live under the Jews. And every time the Israeli prime minister or any minister in the government says, we're going to give the Palestinians this neighborhood, you know what happens? All the Palestinians move out of that neighborhood into Israel because they want to be under Israeli control. If they're under Islamic control, what's going on now with the Arab uprisings throughout the Middle East? Just fire. And so to be blessed, these Muslims, and they're great people, they want to live under Jewish law.
We believe that in the covenant that God gave to Abraham in Genesis 12, the ones that you bless, I will bless, or the bless you, I will bless, the ones that curse you, I will curse, etc. How can Christians, tell us a little bit about your perspective of that promise and how Christians can stand with the nation of Israel?
Well, God has moved sovereignly, and the Christian population was until 1989 2%. It was Arab Christian, half were Catholic, half were Greek Orthodox. And God shook the tree of the Soviet Union and Ethiopia, and all of a sudden now we have 6% more population in Israel, which is Christian. So today 8% of the population is Christian. 6% of the population is Jewish, married to the Christians. So I'm forming a Judeo-Christian Bible bloc party to run for the Israeli Knesset, and hopefully I will be in the next Knesset at the head of a Judeo-Christian list.
So you're running for office.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting because I talked to you before and you talked about the representation in the Knesset, and there's nothing that represents the Christian groups that are in Israel.
Correct. Well, what happened was you need 74,000 votes to get 2. That's the threshold. 2% of the population. Now the Christians, Arab Christians are 2%, but they're Catholic and they're Greek Orthodox and they're divided up into tribes and they're very divided. But now that God has sent home Russian, Ukrainian, and Ethiopian immigrants, and they all serve in the army, and they all pay taxes, and they all vote, sooner or later there will be Christian representation in the Knesset. But I want to form a Judeo-Christian alliance in Israel. I've been working for a Judeo-Christian alliance globally, and actually one of the 8 principles of the Judeo-Christian Party will be to create a Christian United Nations based in Jerusalem, Bible bloc United Nations, to replace the pagan United Nations.
Avi, you mentioned that your running mate is, tell us about that.
Well, my candidate list will be Jew, Christian, Jew, Christian, Jew, Christian. Every 37,000 votes gets the next man or woman in. My number 2 is a South Lebanese Army officer, senior officer. And so he will represent, he'll be the number 1 on the Christian side of the list. My number 3 will be a Jew, hopefully a woman candidate. My number 4 will be a Christian, again, hopefully a woman candidate. And so we're going to have, you know, women and different ethnic groups, Jews, Christians. It's going to be a mess.
Tell us a little bit about something mentioned in the book of Joel. There's a distinct curse placed on those who would divide the land of Israel. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you know, I have to tell you something. Until the so-called Arab Spring in February, in which everybody was fighting everybody, and actually Isaiah 19 verse 2, it says Egyptians will fight Egyptians. That never happened before. So all of a sudden God reshuffled the deck. The whole Middle East is upside down now. But you know, Hillary Clinton and President Obama, all they were talking about was how bad Israel was and the settlements and the territories, and Israel has to go to the borders of June the 5th, 67, which, by the way, will never happen. So yeah, I can calm all of you down. We will never, ever move from the Jordan River or from the Golan Heights. We gave Gaza. We gambled. We lost. And you know, there's a saying, what's the definition of insanity? When you keep making the same mistakes over and over again. So this time there will be no Palestinian state. By the way, the Palestinians don't want a Palestinian state. So I believe that it's a bluff. If the UN does come against us, we will know what to do then.
What kind of opposition do you get in your own country?
I personally?
Yeah.
I have to be very honest. Very few people in Israel know what I'm doing. I'm much more famous in the Christian world. If you go to Google search or YouTube.
But entering into the public arena, that's going to change, isn't it?
Yes, that'll change, definitely. But I want you to know today there are many rabbis and there are many Orthodox Jews who understand, including the Asaels, who were here a few days ago. They know that the Christians are not our best friends. The Christians are our only friends.
Avi, you have an ability to teach and to articulate a lot of these principles, a lot of these issues, and a lot of biblical text. Tell us what you have on the table out there.
Okay, well, firstly, I've got about 25 hours of teaching in book form, CD form, DVD form. And by the way, prices are almost half price now, $5, 5 for $50. So
can we negotiate like we do in Jerusalem?
I give you a special price.
Okay.
But the teachings are about the threat of Islam to America, Islam to the world, inter-Arab and inter-Muslim wars. Of course, there's a book and a CD about the Judeo-Christian party. My most recent book is a book about Genesis, God of creation, and Allah, the God with a small g of destruction, which is Satan. And so I do a 3-year jail sentence in Switzerland for preaching that, but I saved Switzerland during the minaret vote, November 29th.
Yeah, really quickly, tell us about that. You wrote an article about this thing in Switzerland and the jail sentence. What happened?
Well, it was commuted to a $600 fine, but anybody who attacks Islam, I mean, you can attack Christianity. That's cool. That's great, you know. But you attack Islam, you're going to go to jail for 3 years. You follow what I'm saying? By the way, Secretary of State Clinton and President Obama are working to adopt the Swiss law here. In other words, if a pastor preaches the gospel, he's going to go to jail. If you preach against Islam, or that Christianity is better than Islam, or Allah is Satan, which is what I say, or that Islam is not a religion but a criminal psychosis, you're going to get a 3-year jail sentence.
Okay, was I right? This is like hardly enough time to get all this download of stuff. So Avi has a table out there. Please check that out on your way out. Would you give him a big hand?
Thank you.
For coming. Thank you, Avi.